Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I have a special guest with me. His name is King Calie. He's an artist, known him for a little bit.
Bad artist.
Bad artist.
Little bit longer than a little bit.
For a little while. Today we're gonna be talking about creativity. We're gonna also be talking about discipline. We're also gonna be talking about how to get unstuck. Because I think a lot of persons are stuck at the moment.
Yeah, we're gonna be having conversations.
We're gonna
today.
be chatting. Alright, so first of all, before I get into the meat of the matter, tell them about you. Who is King Calie?
King Calie is a determined little youth who knows him I forget what I want all the time. Because I'm mother spoil him a type of way. Body else don't like it, but me not care. Yeah, music, art, fashion, culture. Like I love that something there. Culture very dear to me. Yeah, I drop in my daughter just for posterity. She's the love of my life.
Aww.
Yeah, that's King Calie though.
When I met you, we met at the call center that we were working at.
Yeah.
I don't need
That
to
was my
call the
very
name.
first call center, by the way.
My first and last. Never went back.
Wasn't my last. I went to a lot more after that, but
That was your first.
that one was my first.
While you were at the call center, I know you were into music. Definitely, that was your passion. You knew that. How?
Yeah.
I mean, a 9 to 5 is very secure, but you still wanted to pursue music regardless.
Yeah. I mean, security wasn't always big for me. I like to take risks. So before the call center, what I was doing is I was like working with my father. But before that, I was actually at law school, and what I did was just dip set on them because law wasn't really my
Your
thing.
thing. Mm-hmm.
So that would have been security, and it's not like I couldn't manage the work. Like I was ducking tutorials and going to the bar to play poker pool and still passing the people in class, but it just wasn't it wasn't my thing. Like Calie's life was Calie's life was more my thing. They run a bar and I play poker pool and then we can style like just vibes and culture. So early, well like I never early. Like I did all done second year. But I realized that it wasn't what was going to drive my passion. So I'm a deep set before the people them say, well, the officer.
So my question is, because I feel like you mentioned your dad, you mentioned your mom, and I feel like in today's society, you know, your parents want you to be the lawyer, the doctor, the nurse.
True.
You know, the good on paper type of jobs.
True.
When you told them that, you know, this is not for me, I'm gonna stick to what I like, I'm gonna stick to what I'm passionate about, how did they take it?
Cause you know, that's the way you go around.
Oh,
I was
we
look
cared.
on them parents and tell them, so what you know, that school that I work up. I didn't tell them a thing. I just told me I do. At the time they were in the Bahamas though, so it was a bit easier. They were still living in the Bahamas. Because I also spent like about 5 years out of my life in the Bahamas.
Okay.
But they were still there. So when that decision was made, they didn't really know until they knew.
We have that
did the far. So but everything kinda play out itself. They came back, started doing some stuff. I was working with my dad in trucking for a while, and then just like it pissed me off one day. I was like, I remember saying it said me go to school, yes, I don't really have to do this. And he's like still pushing it, and I just left. Applied at a call center, and the very next day I was in an interview.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, alright, cool. Say your body, alright, cool. And then that was call center from there.
You told me a lot of things I didn't know about you because I didn't know you were into law. I just...
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Alright, so your parents now know say you're not into what them, you know. You just want to do what you, you know.
True.
And how important was that for you to follow like the things that you're passionate about? Because I remember myself too when I did a degree in business admin. I'm still doing that. I didn't kind of stray away, but I remember when I was selecting my subjects, it was supposed to be science. I was supposed to be a nurse, or I was supposed to be a doctor, and telling them that I wanted to do business wasn't their first choice, as if it's their life. But you know, I felt much better when I started to chase my dreams.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, because I feel like there are a lot of people who want them have to think about what them are gonna tell them parents. And how do you know that chasing this is actually like what you're supposed to do? How you know that, you know, like you're not gonna make a mistake? Because those are the things that people think about sometimes.
Number one, you don't know that you're not gonna make a mistake. You don't
Right?
know that is it you're supposed to chase is is a feeling. Like is some people call it a calling. It really feels like a calling sometimes, because more time I put on music and I'm like, yo, fuck this not gonna go nowhere. Like yo, and everything's like, even yesterday I was telling somebody that sometimes I listen back to all of my stuff and everything will sound like trash. But now I've realized that that's just a level up moment. That's the moment where you get comfortable, and you need to write something that supersedes everything that you've already done, or draw something or create something if you're not vocalist like myself. But you never know that it's the right thing. You just have to go off of a feeling, the same feeling that you use to say, all right, let me try this thing. You just have to keep trying to find that feeling and find that flame so it gets bigger. And with discipline, it definitely it definitely can get bigger within a reasonable amount of time. But I never ever, not even now after winning Magnum, I don't feel like, okay, yeah, music is it and see it, me that I tell everybody. I still don't feel like that. I still don't get that feeling as yet. It still feels like I still have a whole heap of work, you know, a whole heap of way to go. And like the top performer competition kind of showed me a lot of the things that I was doing wrong, and a lot of the things that I need to actually be doing in order to like, one, fit into the space, and two, make money from doing this thing. Because a lot of people, they don't understand that music is a dual space. The money is made in one space and the art is actually made in one space. So it's very tricky to figure out when you transition, or when you bring this part over here or bring this part over here, or how. Because you can't just bring anything from the culture to where the money is made and think you're gonna make money from it. It don't really work like that. And the competition showed me that.
Alright, so I like how you kind of just skip over the fact that you win one competition. So let's like backtrack a little bit. So you entered Magnum.
Yeah, Magnum top performer.
Why did you enter? Like, because I mean, the nerves alone would I get me. Why did you enter? Well, I mean, the answer is obvious, but tell me how that was like for you.
Alright, so I really don't like competitions, that's the first thing. So I wasn't going to enter. But a couple of my friends, Ryan Skull, Marsha Page, and the very last one who actually caused me to send the video was Ixela. She Skull sent it first, and he was like, yo, Magnum have a competition in, and it not look like a regular Instagram competition. I was like, alright, me take a look at it. Never look at it, never even go up on the page. I already did follow Magnum because Magnum was my brand, but I never took a second look at it because I just thought, alright, one more Instagram competition. I'm not doing another one of that. But then I saw my friend Marsha. I don't remember where I saw Marsha, and I think she said it to me, and she said that she think that I have this. I was like, alright, Marsha, follow the thing for a while, so maybe, but I still didn't go look at it. Like about 2 nights before now, Ixela sent me the post, and she was like, very demanding, yo, dear video, a year is this, like, we're gonna enter, and one of we must win. I'm like, alright then, cool. Did the video, sat there with it for a while, sent it in. Didn't get a response from that video, but ever since I sent it in, it's like it just rests on my brain. And so I read the rules. When I read the rules, I realized that I needed to have put my full name and there were no curse words, and at the very end of my video there was a curse word, like just in the outro. So I cut the bad word, and decided that alright, I gotta send it back. But when? So I think it was on a Tuesday night, 11:59. There was the cutoff point, and like Tuesday night, 10:40 something. I'm looking at the page and name type up, everything uploaded, and I'm like, do I click upload? Click upload, and after I click upload, I just felt like calm. I was like, alright, cool, no problem. That weird, no problem though. And then the next day, who I now know as Jano called me and said, you know why I'm calling? And like, without even hesitation, I was like, yeah, I know. And he was like, alright, well, they have a video shoot, a photo shoot tomorrow, so forward. And I was like, okay then. And like, the rest of it was history. Like the first photo shoot, I remember telling all of them that, yo, no, not really do no more for me, you know, just the mere fact so they pick me out as so much people me good. Is me alright with that? And he's like, where did that come from? So from this, so it's like just greatness. Like everything just fall into place.
When you first submitted the video, you never read the instructions and then you submitted it again. Most persons at that time, the first time, and it never go through or it never do the right way, they would just call it quits or just consider that, you know, this is a sign from the universe that I'm not supposed to do this. A lot of creative people are stuck. What advice would you give to someone who is feeling stuck?
Well, yeah, I never did ever submit the video either. Yes, I would have been stuck. But I think throughout this whole competition, I kept finding myself being prepared, even before I knew I needed to be prepared, because like the year before, I did like 100 days of just writing demos and recording the demos and putting out said demos in their demo quality, which is not something I usually do because I'm low-key a perfectionist. But what that 100 days did is it kind of showed me what it takes to level up, because you find that during the whole process I kept feeling more and more confident. So by day 10 I was doing like a 10-minute track just for number 10. And even though I was at that time, I was still looking and going, alright, I don't know, I'm going to make it to 100, you know. But I just stick to it and just kept a disciplined mindset and just in the back of my head just know that that's where we're going and that's the end goal, and not looking at it every day as in to say, alright, I need to, but just remaining focused and remaining disciplined to the target at hand. And the competition reinforced that, because at every juncture there was something new that if you're not prepared, you would kind of be very uncomfortable and it would be very awkward for you. And I think a lot of the contestants saw that, and is the reason why it went the way it went. Because at every juncture, because of that 100 day, I was prepared and I was ready. So you find that in order to get out of this mindset of stuck, you kind of have to change your idea of what success is, because I think we were taught success incorrectly. We were taught that you want to do something, you try it, and either it succeed or it don't succeed. We weren't necessarily taught the steps to success. We weren't necessarily taught that success has steps. It's either you can or you can't. So I find that discipline and just stick-to-itiveness is a great part of success, because in discipline you find that you meet the levels that you actually are going to need if you're going to be successful. So you find that by the time I got to day 21, 22, like writing just became I was already a good writer because the year before that I had written for Appleton's Christmas album through Mikey Bennett. So I wouldn't consider myself a novice writer before starting the 100 days, but definitely after the 100 days, it was on a different level than where I was when writing for Appleton's album. So yeah, definitely discipline, stick to itiveness, and just having that drive, having that vision, because you're always going to feel stuck. I think that's the moment in which you level up. Yeah, you feel like, all right, I've done it all here. What next? And then you sit down. If you're not thinking level up, you're going to sit down and feel, all right, should I just give up, or should I keep pressing? And in moments like those, I would say keep pressing. No matter what the discipline, just keep pressing, because like I said in one of the tracks, hunger have a place where you start feeling it. And I think that place is one of those places. It's not hunger, so you don't readily identify it as something that you need to get past. So you end up just being stuck. So yeah, just work through it. You get me? And remain focused and disciplined.
I mean, for me, creative wise, there are a lot of times where I have a lot of negative thoughts, and it doesn't last for long, but there's just some moments where the negative thoughts just, it's like it won't leave me alone. How do you get out of your head and get into your creativity?
Weed. I joke. I joke. A little bit of weed, but just remaining positive, and a lot of meditation, a lot of space cleansing, because a lot of us exist in very polluted spaces where the persons we communicate with or the persons who are around us is concerned. So a lot of what I did was isolation, and thanks to COVID that kind of worked. I think that's COVID is responsible for a lot of my development, because it allowed me to really focus, and it gave me, like, when my daughter was born, it kind of pushed me a type of way, and I think COVID did the same thing. Like, it gave me that extra realization that the time is now. Yeah, we're winding down. You might want to do this now. So yeah, getting out of your head is a lot more you than anything else. Nobody can really assist you with that. So it's cleaning up your space, ensuring that the people you have in your space is positive. If you can't have positive people in your space, get rid of everybody. You don't need nobody but yourself. That's under those circumstances, you don't need nobody but yourself. Unless the person is positive and feeding you a type of way. I don't think in your development, because you are going to come across people who are going to need help coming out of that space. And when you are at a point, I think you should, offer assistance and just kind of try to be that mentor to that person who's going through that thing at the time. However, it don't really work when you're developing, when you yourself don't fully understand what's going on, because what that does is it gives you an alibi, it gives you an out. So whereas you would sit down and kind of think of a way forward, having a negative person in your space is like you just can default to that negative thought. So in order to come out of your head, you definitely want to come out of a negative environment. Definitely want to be in a space where you are you 90% of the time. And a friend of mine, Calie, says what he does is he creates a persona. And whenever he doesn't want to deal with the situation, he becomes that persona. And whatever that persona does, he apologizes for it afterwards. And the people in his space understand that that's how he operates, and that's how he deals with that type of a situation. But definitely, in order to get out of your head, you are going to want to go in there and kind of just do a little bit of management, a little bit of cleaning up, a little bit of moving around. Books too. Like during COVID, I read quite a number of books because I also find that helped me with writing. So every fortnight, I think I still get the messages now. Every fortnight, I'll get a message that new book this Friday, and I'd have to just. What I do is audiobooks, so I don't do the physical copy. Audiobooks are ebooks. LibriVox is a good ebook app.
Okay.
So with LibriVox, you can actually read while listening to the audio. I'm dyslexic, by the way, so the way I learn and the way I interact with the world, I would say, is a bit different. So for me to take up a book and read it, it would take me like 6 or 7 months just to get through the book, and then I would have to read it a second time to understand the book. So audiobooks is gold for me. That's how I actually got to a portion of law school. I have a friend who she used to actually read my books to me, and that fast tracked my studies. So because I know that I'm dyslexic from a little, so I'm always devising plans to retain information or not have to face that situation again. So like I have one of the biggest TikTok videos I have is me saying I'm dyslexic and how I deal with it. The word weird, I usually mix up the E and the I. So what I did was I actually juxtaposed them. However I spell it first, I just switched the I and the E around. But then it got to a point where I started spelling it correct and then messing it up. So that's dyslexia for you, by the way. A lot of my life is like that. So I tend to mentally plan. I don't plan in life, but mentally just organize myself so I don't have to explain why I keep spelling this word wrong or why I keep replacing B and D, interchanging D and B, and then look at something there. So yeah, I think that's how you want to attack your mindset as well. You want to ensure that all the checks and balances are there so that you don't have to keep doing it. So like it just becomes second nature. You at a point you know exactly how you're going. I call it starting over because that's how it feels to me. At times whenever I feel like I'm stuck, I just shed everything and go, all right then, from scratch, and start building again. Like the second and third and fourth build from scratch is going to be a bit quicker. Say like you take a week where it took you a year before. So you get back to the point that you are now within like a week, and it gives you more perspective because a lot of the things you learn, and I don't think people pay enough attention to this, a lot of the things you learn gets lost along the way because you're learning other stuff, and if you're not using things daily, then they kind of get pushed to a place where, and songwriting actually taught me that because I'll be bringing up stuff that I learned when I was like 9, 10, and I didn't know that I still had that information, but I know where it comes from. So when I use it, I can tell, oh, but it's way back, and I'm like, if I remember that. So yeah, being a positive mindset, being a positive space, and be focused. All of that I can take discipline.
Alright, so the last question, because I know you're busy, but I couldn't leave the conversation without talking about money, because you know I'm about money.
True.
And I feel like if we could just turn our passions into profit, you know, that would be a good thing. So how do you go about doing that? Like for anybody that's probably struggling, someone who's listening to you right now, how do you go about turning your passion into profit? Because we need to pay our bills, right?
Alright, so I'm gonna start off by saying something that Ding Dong said to me and said. He was like, yo, when I'm talented, so the money, it gonna come. One don't need to worry about that. All you need to worry about is being the best version of you. You get me? And it made sense because up to that point, that's the only thing I was focused on. Like I keep telling people that the $1 million that the competition offered isn't really what I was focused on. Even though it helps and you know it stop a gap, it's not really what I was focused on. Like other people in the competition probably might have been focused on it, but it really was neither here or there for me because I was looking at the bigger opportunity. You get me? And I was preparing myself for the bigger opportunity. So while another contestant might have just been preparing for winning that million, I was actually preparing for these people to see me and go, all right, this youth can left backward side, because I think that's the best way to monetize your art. You don't ever want it to be a situation where you're going to someone and saying, hey, this is what I create. How much would you pay for it? You almost always want the conversation to be, yo, that you that tough, you know. I wonder if your mother accept X. You get me? And the only way you get to that point is by being the best version of yourself. So I would say the best way to monetize your art or your craft or your talent or whatever it is you do is just like what they teach you in school. Like, just be the best version, like be the top of the class, be that person that once the cameras turn on you, everybody's just gonna be looking at you, no matter how many people in the room. And for most of the competition, it was like that. Like, once I'm on set, I like to think, I mean, not speak for anybody else, but I like to think that the set lights up when I'm on set. When what I do is when I get there, I just go around and hail everybody, staff, crew, everybody, and each pocket that I get to, there's usually just like a burst of laughter, and then I think what that does is prepare the next pocket of people to go, all right, King Calie's covered over here, what's gonna happen now? So it just carries throughout the whole space, and then once that is done, I am left feeling accomplished, even though I've done nothing as yet. So when it's time to take the stage, I'm almost already in performance mode because I came in performing. And I have a performance coach, Philip Clark. The competition also actually made some things that he said make a lot of sense, and he's always like, be ready so you don't have to get ready. So I was like, what the fuck that means? I don't understand what that means. But the competition like showed me that that's exactly where success is, being ready so you don't have to get ready, type of story. So for me, monetizing your craft is just being ready. Because when the opportunity presents itself, a lot of time we can't monetize because when the opportunity comes, we're just not ready. So I think the best way to go about monetizing yourself is not to chase anyone to say this is what I do and pay me for it, but to work through the hard times and develop your craft, get it to a place where once the right person sees it, they're willing to offer you $1 million for it, or put you in a competition where at the end you're victorious and get the million.
All right, guys, there you have it. King Calie himself in the flesh, dropping some really good nuggets and gems for all us creatives out there. Now, before we go, tell us where we can find you.
All right, so 12 Guts 21 on all social media platforms except TikTok. Over there is never ending Grammy speech.
No, before you go though, you know I have to spring it up on you, you know, say I forgot to give you a little piece. Right? Remember you did say you always have to be ready, so now it's time to be ready.
No problem. Alright, so I have a single that we're promoting. It's called Safe. It's about the situation that we're facing where our female safety is concerned. So yeah, it goes a little something like, can I get a lockdown for the ladies, them a murder? State of emergency, treat it with urgency. Cause the woman them not safe and that a stare us in the face. Woman them not safe and everyone should feel disgrace. Death penalty fi start again, now you fi rape and kill and want walk again. Crime rate are the real pandemic and it's like the government non condemn it. One justice for Jasmine Dean and all of the other little girl them. Where there's like two little girls me see the other day. I mean I understand what go on. Gunshot, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, like it now make sense to me. I could do something about this. The song name safe, I can stream it, I can share it with somebody else. You know what I mean? But it's something we need to look about and talk about right now. 5, 10 gunshot them. I don't like that trajectory there. You know what I mean? We'll call this one.
Say can I get a lockdown for the ladies, them a murder. State of emergency, treat it with urgency. Cause the woman them not safe and that a stare us in the face. Woman them not safe and every man should feel disgrace. Death penalty fi start again. Now you fi rape and kill and one walk again. Crime rate are the real pandemic and our government now condemn it. Want justice for Jasmine Dean. Send them make we hang them out jungle.